women are more likely to die alone and single. Here are 3 main reasons. Number 1, pretty women have so many options that when something don't sit well with them in the relationship or there is a little issue, they're so quick to leave the relationship because they know that there is a line of dudes waiting for them. They're such in high demand that it's going to be easy for them to replace the boyfriend. Number 2, when a pretty woman is settled in a relationship, eventually the man is not going to compliment her as much because now he got used to it. He's not mesmerized by the beauty anymore. Pretty women enjoy and need that type of validation. So when it diminishes, they're going to start seeking it from other men so they can still feel pretty and attractive, which might lead to cheating or leaving the relationship. And number 3, because they know they're pretty, they have higher requirements. They can ask for more money. They can ask for more attention. They can ask for whatever they want because beauty is king. So with these 3 reasons, it might be hard to either find a man or it might be hard for them to stay in a relationship. But once they get to the age of their beauty declining is when they're gonna try to fight and work for the relationship. But it might be too late because now there are better looking women on the market, younger women, and therefore more fertile women. Don't waste your years, ladies. Physical beauty is not forever. Lock him in while you're at your prime.
It's 2023, the end of 2023, almost 2024, and a lot of us have noticed there are a lot of single women around, right? Single Black women, single Hispanic women, single white women, single all sorts of women. It's a phenomenon that I don't think most of us ever thought about happening. And I feel like when we think about the reasons why, it's always this battle of, are men right? Are women right? You know, who should step up first? Should the woman or should the man? In my most recent relationship with the father of my child, we're no longer together. However, it was always like, who gives in first? You know, I feel like as women in this day and age, we want to be courted, right? That is something that has been happening for decades. But now times have changed. You know, before women were courted, women that were pretty were courted, women that were fertile, women that a man could give him something were courted. You know, and a lot of the times those women had multiple men they could potentially be with. So the courting was, who do I want to be with because, you know, who's courting me better or who cares about me more? What am I getting from this man or that man to make me want to have babies with him? You know, and that's kind of what happens in the animal world, right? Like male species of certain beings will do something to court a female. They have bright colors, or they're dominant, they're alpha, they're hunting the best, they're doing something, right? And for humans, that has been big in our lives for a long time, until kind of recently, right? So women have moved up in the world. Like, things have changed a lot. Women have worked hard, we've broken barriers, you know, we've become CEOs and bosses and C-suite members and all sorts of things. And we don't have to be courted by a man in order to have his babies and stay home and take care of them and cook and clean and all that stuff and be domestic. Because we go out into the world and we do our own thing. You know, so things have changed. So now it seems like, not necessarily that men don't want to court us. I feel like courting has to be pretty favorable on both sides, right? Because men still like to do nice things for women, and women like to get things from men, right? It's something that works out. But now, since women hold so much more value, they bring more to the table. And a lot of times I feel like, I'm not gonna say that men don't like that. It's just women know what's up, right? Because if we're taking care of a household, if we're working hard, we're making good amounts of money, we're educated, we cook, clean, we do that, and we're the only sex that can have children, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot, you know, to want from someone. You know, a man wants a woman for all these things, so he's gonna have to work for it. It's just what it is, right? And I mean, a woman has to work also. I'm not saying that they don't. All I'm saying is it's a different mindset, because as women, we all want to fall into that feminine soft role. We all want to still play that role of nurturer and supporter of a man, and you want to take care of your kids. Like, regardless of how hard you've worked or how much has changed, those values are still a part of us. I mean, we're full of estrogen, we're not full of testosterone. So we tend to be nurturers. We tend to, you know, want to take care of a family and be loving. That's just our chemical, physical makeup, right? So when I think about having a husband, like, I could have had a husband many times. However, would I have been happy? So her first point is pretty women find it easier to replace their boyfriend. There's men already waiting for them, so they can, you know, if a man's not doing what he needs to do, a pretty woman will feel like, hey, I can just leave. There's someone else for me. And when you think about that, that's very true. I mean, that's true on both sides. Anyone who is physically attractive, especially in the society that we live in now, where your physical is so much more important than everything else to everybody, they're going to feel that way. But that has been happening for years and years and years, because before women were allowed to do things, men looked at women basically mostly for their beauty, right? Not necessarily for their brains, maybe for their personality also, depending on the man. But a lot of times they want a genetically high lottery winner of a woman who is beautiful and who they can have beautiful kids with, right? So she's saying now, hey, if you're a pretty woman and a man's not doing what you want them to do, then you may not just leave. And because of that, you may die single. Okay, that's all well and good and everything like that. But, you know, when do we allow women to not settle and it just be like, hey, that woman just wants to be happy and wants to live a good life where she can give to a man that makes her happy. So I feel like in my life, like say there was a man in my life who I felt like I would have married. No matter how much I wanted to marry this man, he was not living up to my expectations of being a great provider. Nothing crazy. Not saying he had to make $200K a year or anything like that. You know, someone who will work hard and play hard, right? Like someone who thinks about their life and someone who thinks about their life in a purposeful way and wants to have a good life and wants to have a good life with a woman and wants to have a good life with their kids. As in, no matter what we say, money makes the world go round. And we all have to survive. And there are a lot of monetary reasons to why we need to think about money, women and men, right? So men will say, hey, I don't care how much a woman makes. Like, I want her to be beautiful and be sweet to me and take, you know, and support me with my endeavors and things like that. And a woman wants to do that. But I mean, I wanted to do that. I tried to get us to work on businesses together and take time to, you know, work basically in order to make a better future for our lives. But he wanted to party and just enjoy life without working hard for it first. And I see that there's a lot of that premature stuff sometimes when it comes to men, because men want different things in life from women. Like, we think about her second point, that pretty women need the validation of you telling them that they're pretty. Everyone needs validation. Yes, a pretty woman, an ugly woman, a pretty man, an ugly man. Everyone wants to feel loved. Everyone wants to hear certain things from their partner. That is kind of our job. If you're in a relationship, is to love this person and tell them how you feel. Yeah, I mean, if someone, oh, you're so beautiful, da da da, at the beginning and everything like that, and then they get complacent. When I think about her post saying that pretty women have options and they don't have to stay with a man that doesn't give her what she wants, I think that's absolutely right. I think that's absolutely right for women who the society doesn't necessarily deem quote unquote pretty. I mean, we have one life. You should be with someone that makes you happy. If you want a man that's a provider, find a provider. You know, if you want a man that doesn't go out and stays home, find that man. But don't settle or try to change someone else. So I think that, hey, if a man's not giving you what you want, then you need to leave. But you need to leave because you're not getting what you want. You know, not change how you feel. Because a man is a certain type of way, that's not your man. That may be some other woman's man. You know, women, we feel like we can change someone. Like, I used to feel like that. You know, and that was one reason why I had long relationships that ended in nothing, because I tried to change someone who wasn't for me. You know, and we broke up because we were not for each other. And that is good. That is fine. That is the way it's supposed to be. But what we're doing is we're spending too much time trying to find out when we know from the beginning. So I spent 5 years with 2 men that basically took up my 30s. Where in my 30s, instead of trying to change these men, I should have just been out there dating to find the man that was right for me. Basically, right? So like recently, the guy that I was dating, that I had the baby with, I thought he fit more into the profile of a man that I was looking for, until I realized that he didn't. And at that point, it was done for me. It was done. It was months. I happened to get pregnant, which was something that was not an accident. It's something that we talked about, because I was fine with, you know what? I think this man is what I'm looking for. I'm fine with us, you know, getting together. I don't need to be together with him for years and years and years. Like, who wants to do that? But he wasn't that man, because he's not ready for a woman. He's not ready for that in his life. He has a lot of learning to do, and that's fine. And yes, I should have spent more time to see that, but I learned, you know. But also, when things started from the beginning, I saw the red flags, but I kept going. I kept going, and I was like, I'll just tell him that I don't like this, and he can change. Then I realized, nah, it ain't gonna work. He ain't gonna change, at least not anytime soon. I'll have to be in this for years and years and years before he changes, and I'll have to change first. Which really, so I ended it. Something happened. We had a situation. That day was over for me. It was over, and it was to never be again, because that's not my man. And I think a lot of times that's what we are doing as women. That's not your man, boo. Let him go. And that's fine. It's not about, we don't have to bash him. I mean, I was very upset at this man for many reasons, because he was perpetrating, acting like he was someone that he wasn't. And I don't appreciate that because I don't do that. And I think that that's something that anyone, man or woman, should not do. Just show exactly who you are from the beginning. Don't start changing up or doing things behind closed doors and you're coming off to this person saying something different. Because honestly, if I would have never asked to see more into his life on a social sense in a social media platform, I wouldn't even known this man was like this behind closed doors. So thank goodness, ladies, if you feel something about someone, go deeper. Okay, people will say, oh, privacy this, privacy that. Nah. I don't believe in privacy. Like, if we're together, what is there privacy for? Like, for what? I mean, yeah, you have your time alone, I have my time alone, but what are you doing that it doesn't even matter? Like, if you looked at my social media, my DMs and stuff like that, first of all, if I know someone, I'm not gonna DM them a lot of personal shit or sexual stuff or anything like that. Like, if we're close, if we're gonna be doing all that, it's gonna be on my phone anyway. It's not gonna be on social media. I'm not gonna do all that. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Let me come back in. So, I like Melly and everything, but I don't agree with this. Like, no, ladies, find what you want. That's the problem. That's why we end up being single. Because we don't find what we want from the beginning, and we just keep going. And the third reason, beauty is king. Yes, it is, absolutely, in everything. In houses, in cars, in people, in children, anything. Everyone wants something that's pleasing to the eye, right? Like, what we see, especially for men, what we see is, it trumps so much, and it's like primary, and that is the way of life, which is fine. But she's forgetting the fact that women should just be asking for what they want from the beginning. Point blank, period. Like, if you want something, you should say it from the beginning, right? As a woman, say, hey, this is what I require. I want a man who's in the NBA, who's 8 feet tall, and who makes $200 million a week. If that's what you want, hey, look for it, fine. You know, but don't want that. Be with a man who isn't that, and then try to change him, and then get mad when he isn't that. And then stay. And then in 5 years, say, oh, that man wasn't shit. When you knew that wasn't your man. I did that. I knew that this man was not going to give me what I wanted. And I stayed and thought he was going to change. Stupid. You know, what can you do? But these truths are what will stop you from getting married if you want to get married, right? So getting married, number one, we have to work on ourselves. We have to be all good on the inside. People don't think about that a lot, or they do, but they don't realize the amount of work it takes. Because, hey, we're in our teens, we're just learning. We don't know anything. We know nothing whatsoever. We're in school, we're being directed every day. We're being directed by our parents. We're being directed by school, authorities. That's it. We don't know. We're getting peer pressured. We're getting pressure from all over the place. We're being pushed. In your 20s, you either go to college or you don't. Your 20s is the kind of continuation of your teens. You're being pushed. You have people at school. You have things that you need to do. For college, you might have a little job. But you're being directed. Then you graduate from college. And then it's like, whoa. Whoa. Also in your 20s, you're kind of partying. You don't really want to get married. I mean, some people get married. But you may find the love of your life. You may find someone who you work well with, and that's great. You get into your 30s, it turns into a whole different ball game. We get into our 30s and we know more. We know who we are more. If you're a woman and you're still single as you age, you continue to get you continue to know yourself more. And when you know yourself more, you don't want the bullshit. Same for men. They don't want the bullshit either. It's the same for both of us. We need to start working together instead of being against each other. Why are we faulting women who are attractive for wanting what they want? The same with men. Why do we fault men for being attractive and going out there for what they want? If they want a huge butt, big boobs, and, a super small waist, and hair down to your ankles, that's what they want. Hey, find it. That's great. That's what they want. Because once you hit your 40s, I mean, I'm not in my 50s, I'm in my 40s. But at this point, a lot is very clear, especially after the situation that I just had and me realizing, because I was out that bitch like that. Like, I wasn't going to get what I wanted, so I'm out. Quick. I just happened to be pregnant. But I love my baby. And I don't regret that at all. Nothing about the baby I regret. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that does make it harder to find a husband in the future. Less men are going to want a woman that has 2 babies by 2 different fathers. But that's just the way my life has worked out, I wanted more with these men. It didn't work out. It's kind of the same as getting divorced. You just happened to get married and realize that you guys weren't for each other. It's just that the legal aspect of marriage is not something that I haven't been with anyone who I felt that legal aspect of marriage, like I could trust them in that sense. When it comes to a child, I only have so much time. I wanted kids. I had my kids. I'm done with having kids. And that's what it is. I communicate with these men, and we are both of us are in our kids' lives, and it'll all be great. They'll all have super, super support. It'll be great. It'll always be great. It's great now. Of course, things are hard, but I don't wish I got married to any of those men. I don't wish I got married to any of the men I was ever with. And it's my bad for not leaving a relationship sooner and looking for what I want. Or even knowing what I want, because I haven't even been intentional about wanting to be married. So if I can't be intentional about wanting to be married, then why would I think about what I want in a man or in a husband? That is what comes to me now. So now I know that I can get married. Yeah, I'm older. That's okay. Because now's the time when all those people that got married when they were younger are now single again. There's so many people in their 40s who are newly single and have kids. And it is what it is. It's always the people, a lot of times, that are younger that talks about the people that are getting older, like you can't find anyone. You can find people because there's a whole bunch of us in the same boat, And yeah, some of those men will date younger, more fertile women, I guess, if they want to have more kids or whatever. That's fine. That's not the man that I want, right? So, all in all, we need to make sure that we're financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally sound before we should even honestly really get into serious relationships. We should just date and get to know people, and that's it. Honestly, keep sex out of it. Date. I wouldn't say don't cohabitate, but that actually, you learn a lot about someone if you do that. But really, it's just the seriousness of you're in this relationship with this one person who you're trying to change a lot of times, or hoping that they'll change, you know, when it comes to women, because we do that so much. Sometimes we just need to let that go.